Hey everyone. First off, let me preface this by saying we are fine. But I'm doing this broadcast today because apparently this latest strain of the avian flu has reached the county that Goats with Horns resides in, Maricopa County, Arizona, United States. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Karen from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary on Real Time Animal Rescue. And again, we are fine. All of our birds are healthy and happy, but we, a sanctuary that we know of here in our same county went through a pretty devastating event this past week. Apparently their birds, they had over 100 rescued birds, anything guinea fowl, ducks, turkeys, chickens, and they were, I guess, kind of passing away suddenly and at an alarming rate. And the vet checked it out and they called, there's a bird hotline, and it was determined that they were dying of this latest avian flu. So the Department of Agriculture went to their property and had to euthanize every last bird, whether they were sick or not. And it was jarring to us because I can't even imagine anybody coming here and euthanizing all of our birds. And I've not personally visited that sanctuary, but I have friends that do volunteer there. So I can't even imagine. I read news articles on this incident, and they were kind of just referring to it as a backyard flock. But these birds were way more than a backyard flock. They had names. They were all rescued animals, from all different various backgrounds. This sanctuary worked with local law enforcement. So if there was birds that were injured or in danger or whatever, they took on a lot of them. So anyway, I was, reading the news reports about this incident, and they were just kind of, this backyard flock. And it was so much more than that. They were all rescued animals. They had names, they had stories, they had friends, they had families. And anyway, so since this took place in the same county that Goats with Horns resides, we have to take precautions now. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do besides make sure, we're keeping areas clean. Trying to keep the wild birds off the property as much as possible. So we've had to come up with new feeding procedures and routines because the wild birds do swoop in and eat the chicken feed. And, asking people that come from outside the sanctuary to maybe sanitize their shoes and stuff if they've been out walking around somewhere else. Most of us keep our work boots here on the property. They never leave the property. So that's probably was a good thing. So that's where we're at. This latest bird flu is in Maricopa County, Arizona, United States. And a sanctuary friend of ours had their entire flock of rescued birds euthanized this past week because a couple of their birds died from the bird flu. From what I understand, this is not super dangerous to people. If one of us was to get it, we probably wouldn't get too sick. But I'm not really sure if this strain is jumping to other animals. It just sounds like it's another COVID-19 waiting to happen, really. There's Pretty Girl. I think that's Rose. We've got two. I have to see them side by side. I've got all the chickens down, but I have to see these two girls, Ginny and Rose, side by side. And then we've got Giuseppe here. Like I said, we're just doing what we can to mitigate wild birds coming on this property. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Karen from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary on Real Time Animal Rescue. We are fine. Our birds are healthy. But the bird flu has made it to the county that we're in. So we're just trying to keep everybody here healthy, just trying to keep as many wild birds off the property as we can. This I was just kind of saying early in the broadcast, if you're just tuning in, that a local sanctuary had their entire flock had to be euthanized because they lost some birds to the bird flu. And that would just be like utterly devastating for us because they're just so much more than, like backyard chickens to us. They're our friends and they have stories and we love them very, very much. And I'm not saying people that have backyard chickens don't love them, but like I was saying earlier, that like if you read the news releases about this incident, they're like, oh, this backyard flock. They just keep referring to this backyard flock. And it was just so much more than that because they were all rescued birds. So anyway, just like ours, all of our birds are rescued birds. They have names. 99% sure that's Rose. Because like I said, we've got two girls that's Rose. Ginny, I can see her now. And Giuseppe. And we'll go talk to the other chickens. So what we've been doing is we're feeding the chickens. We're feeding, we put out too much food. We spoil our animals. We really do. So we already put out way too much food. We're just trying to put out more appropriate amount of food and give them some time to eat. And then once they're done eating, we're taking the food away to try to prevent the wild birds from coming on the property. I'm not exactly sure how this thing works. I'm wondering if our wild birds kind of stay more in like a certain area or if they fly all over the county. I don't know. But, I feel like if maybe our wild birds kind of stay more in their own area and that actual bird flu is not like right in this general vicinity, maybe we'll be okay. I don't know. I got to do more research. Maybe we'll touch on this a little bit more soon. We've got to do some more research because it's terrifying to think that if somebody gets sick that we'd have to lose all of them. I don't want to think that way. So that's Ginny. So this is the girl I was confusing. I'm like, I don't know if it's Rose or Ginny, but now I can see them. I can tell them apart. And here we've got Pretzel. Pretzel's our wild child. She's what we kind of call like a feral chicken. This is thing one. Pie, Plum. That's Tootsie in the back there. And in the way back is Cookie Dough. Wait, there's Cookie Dough. And who are we missing, guys? Millie? Where's Millie at? Millie's around here somewhere. I know I saw her earlier. So like I said, these are our little buddies. They're all special to us. They all have names. They all have stories. Like I said, there's so much more to us than, backyard flock or whatever. So if something happened to one of these guys and we had to lose everybody, that would just be utterly horrible to me. So that's where we're at. We're fine. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm Karen from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary on Real Time Animal Rescue. My title might look a little scary, but we're fine. Everybody here is good, but we're just in the process of learning as much as we can about this strain of avian flu that has made it to the county we live in and trying to do all we can to mitigate. Oh, so there are people out there that did not know that turkeys can fly. And now you just saw a turkey fly. They're not graceful, but they can fly. That was Fernando putting on a nice little show for everybody. I don't know what he's all aggro over. Here comes Frankie. So yeah, like I said, we're in the process of learning how to mitigate. We're in the process of learning more about this disease. From what I understand so far, if one of us was to catch it, it wouldn't be too much of a big deal. We'd get sick, but probably not deathly sick. But I don't know if this thing is jumping to other species now. Like I said, I just feels like another COVID waiting to happen. Oh, look at that. There's a bunch of our girls all together. There's thing two right here in the foreground, this black chicken here. I pointed out thing one earlier. That's her sister. They came together. And then there's Millie. Oh, there's Millie. Millie came here with Tootsie, this one in the foreground. Millie and Tootsie came together. They came with a third girl. Well, her name was Popcorn, but I changed her name to Poppy. After I saw a commercial for popcorn chicken, I said, ooh, I don't like that. I'm going to call her Poppy. And Poppy was one of my BFFs. And that's the thing that I'm talking about right now is like if one of our birds gets sick and we have to lose everybody, it will just devastate me because Poppy, sometimes these chickens are just like, they're your like best friend. Like you look forward to coming and seeing and they come running up to you and they want to be picked up and held. And if we lost any of these guys, I would just be, if it's natural causes or whatever, there's not anything to do. There's nothing we can do about that. But this avian flu has made it to where we're at. And again, we're just trying to learn everything we can to mitigate the spread, to prevent it altogether, actually. To prevent it even reaching this property would be the ultimate goal. And learning, look for signs and symptoms. And that's where we're at. So like I said, if you're just joining me, we are fine. We had a sanctuary nearby that resides in the same county as us lose some birds to this latest strain of the avian flu, and they had to have all of their birds, whether they were sick or not, euthanized, and there was over 100 of them. And it was just utterly devastating to hear about, to see. I saw the woman, she was interviewed on the news, and it was just really, really sad thing to see. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to reach out, drop us a note. I've left some links in the description box, and we'll keep you guys updated. But for the time being, everybody here at Goats with Horns is fine. And there's a handful of our girls right there. And we're gonna go now. If you've tuned in, I sincerely thank you, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks.